Welcome to episode 63 and my special guest, Andy Brumbaugh, one of our first franchise owners in the JPAR network. Andy, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, super excited. And so let's go back and start at the very beginning. Out of college, you come right into real estate. So you're not like most of us that have a second career. Tell us about that.
You know, I actually fell in love with real estate in college. I was buying my first home while I was in college. My realtor at the time was would turn out to be my future mother-in-law, who is now one of our agents. And I just fell in love with the process of buying a home. Looking at homes in that moment when you find that home that you're going to buy, that was an out of body experience that as soon as I felt that from a buying standpoint, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And so that's how I decided on real estate, and I've been doing it ever since, and I love it.
And in your senior year of college, you were first licensed. Is this correct?
Right. I got my license during the winter break of my senior year of college. Most kids have the month of December off. They go do whatever with their families, and I went to real estate school, got my license. That's actually where I met JP. He was going through real estate school at the same time, and I guess you could say the rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. I want to connect you with a good friend, Emil,
okay,
from Newport, from Dana Point, California, who has a very similar, he went through college, had a very similar experience. So I'll connect you two. That could be great cross-market.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect.
So you met JP in real estate school.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us a little bit about that story.
You know, like most people in real estate school, you're excited and you're going to take over the world and you're going to do all these great things in real estate. You have all these great ideas. And he just happened to be sitting next to me, and we were two guys that just got along. We talked all the time. We would talk about real estate, what we were going to do. We talked about life and talked about all kinds of different things. And, you know, it was just total coincidence that we ran into each other. And it's bizarre how 13 years later, all of this would come to fruition. I can't say that we've been planning it for 13 years. It just happened, and it's really weird. You just never know who you meet and how it's going to impact your life.
Yeah. So in the Carolinas, I don't know, eight years ago, and started JP Associates here in Dallas. Now we're one of the top 50th largest brokers in the USA, and we started franchising, a little over 6 months ago, and you became one of the first. Tell us about your vision and your territory and what that looks like.
Certainly. So it starts before I even reconnected with JP. I fully believe that there needed to be a different way of doing business, at least here in South Carolina. I thought that the typical dated commission structures needed to change. I thought the office environment and culture needed to change. I thought the ability for people to do everything digitally and not have to turn in reams of paperwork all the time was very important. I thought that training was important, but it needed to be modernized and relevant for today's world, not the world of 10, 15 years ago. And so I had to find the right franchise. And so I just started looking around, and I looked and talked to a bunch of franchises. And some of my mentors said, well, you should call JP. And I was a little nervous at first. I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like, we went to real estate school together. But I did. I picked up that phone and we talked and found out that he had exactly what I was looking for. So he not only was he the only company that had everything I was looking for, but I also knew him. And he started his career in South Carolina like we did. So it was too good of an opportunity to pass up. But I'm here. I'm starting in Columbia, and our goal is to grow throughout the state. Just like JP is seeing tremendous growth through Texas, we want to do the same thing in South Carolina. So We're starting in Columbia, which is kind of in the middle of the state, which is nice. And we want to grow to Charleston and Greenville and a lot of other markets. And that's our plan. That's our goal.
Well, that's exciting. We're, JP, here in Texas, we're approaching our 1,600th agent.
It's insane.
So it's just insane and totally possible for you in Carolinas. So tell me a little bit, do you have any fear?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know who originally said it, but there's a quote out there, and I'm going to paraphrase, but if your goals don't scare you, then you're not dreaming big enough. And so certainly there's fear because, my wife and I, we believe so heavily in this. We know it's going to work, but at the same time, we put our whole livelihood on the line to do this. But we wouldn't do that if we didn't feel that strongly about it. So certainly there's fear as we grow, and you never grow as quick as you would like. That's human nature. You always want more. No matter what you have, you always want more. So there's certainly fear, but it's also exciting.
Yeah, totally exciting. So how do you overcome the fear? How do you push forward? How do you move forward and keep pushing those big goals you do?
I'm kind of an old school guy. I still like my handwritten to-do list. I still like my Excel spreadsheet. And when I have those moments of fear, I just go back to my basics. What is my job? What is my goal? What am I trying to do today? You can't eat an elephant all at once. You eat an elephant one bite at a time. And that's what we're doing. And so when I have those moments of fear, I look back at, okay, what is my goal today? And is my goal to set up, 3 or 5 or whatever appointments with other agents to maybe join our company? Or, what is the mission for today? And so as long as I go back to that and I focus on that and I worry about that, then I know as long as I handle today, every single day, then the future will take care of itself.
Yeah. So you win the day, you win the week, you win the month, you win the quarter, you win the year.
Exactly.
Got it.
That's exactly right.
So tell us a little bit. Let's switch over to the JP Associates value proposition. Why would an agent want to come join your firm?
Oh boy. Why not? Really? I mean, I look at it as why not? How can you, and that sounds so hokey, but it genuinely is the absolute God's honest truth of, yes, we pay very well, but our working environment is second to none. The agents we have are more supportive of each other than I've ever seen. People love the training and the diversity of training. We do training every Tuesday. We have a Tech Tuesday training that we do in the office live. The stuff that you guys put out daily is outstanding. The whole training portal. So I don't care if you're a brand new agent. I don't care if you've been in the business 30 years and you sell 50 homes a year. There is information available to help your career and wherever you want to take it. And I really like that. That's a big deal. People love that. Again, they love the culture and environment. But we're putting the agent first. So many times it's the owner first or it's somebody else that's first. But this is all about the agent. And if it's not to absolutely make it better for the agent, then we're not doing it. And I think that's refreshing.
Yeah, totally refreshing. In fact, one of the JPAR Texas agents that I was just interviewing before this episode helps us recruit from time to time. And one of the recruits she was working with asked her, well, what's the trick? What's the hitch? What's the hidden message? And she basically said, there is none. And I'm living proof because she's been here now 5 years.
Yeah.
And so placing the agent number one is really the hallmark of the JP Associates brand.
I agree. I completely agree. And my mission is just to make sure that everybody in town understands that because, we're bringing a new brand to South Carolina. And so while I have known JP for a long time, that doesn't mean that the majority of the agents in town have known him. And so, it's just a matter of bringing that same message here and spreading the word so people understand it really can be about them.
Yeah, for sure. So before we wrap up, I'd like to ask 2 questions.
Okay.
One, what advice would you give to agents around their business? And I want to come out and ask about other potential franchise owners considering a franchise. Let's talk about the agents first. What advice would you give to agents of any level of experience, from those that are wildly successful to those that are brand new? Is there one thing that you would talk about?
Yeah, I would say be open to learning and be open to criticism and being, just don't get stuck in your ways. I think that was one of my faults when I first started. I was growing up as an only child, always did everything by myself, played by myself, did my own thing. And so when I got into real estate, it was the same mentality of, all right, I got to learn this myself, et cetera. And I would say that whether you're new or experienced is to be open to learning from other people and really absorbing whatever message they're trying to teach you. Because no matter what stage you're at in your career, you can always learn and improve. So my advice is just to be open, be willing to accept new things and change. And I know that's hard, but that's what I would say to any agent.
Yeah, and I heard within that is leverage the network around you. There's people that want to help and
absolutely
and be part of your success.
That's right.
So let's switch that and ask that question again as someone may be considering owning their own franchise or starting their own business as a broker. What which is really scary for a lot of people. What would so congratulations on your courage and taking that step forward.
Thank you.
Bless you. So what advice would you give to those folks?
It's taking that step. It is a big step. There's a lot of financial implications that you have to be aware of course. But again, keep, as an agent, your client is your buyer or your seller. And as a franchise or business owner, your client is now your agent. And so agents tend to do a pretty good job of making sure they keep their clients first. So when you transition to being a business owner, opening up a franchise, you have to have that same mentality. You just have to understand now who your client is because it's different than before. And as long as you're doing everything in their best interest, then you can't go wrong. And, as far as within the JPAR world, going with the a JPAR company is outstanding because it leads back to my previous answer of leverage that support that's around you. And you guys offer a tremendous amount of that for franchises, which I think is pretty special.
It's pretty phenomenal. Well, yeah. I am so excited that you were able to join us today. And I know the audience is going to get some great value from this interview. And I know we'll be doing more interviews over time as we follow your tremendous success. And I'm so excited to be a minor part and help support and be a cheerleader from afar and help and support in any way we can as you build your brand and your vision in South Carolina.
I appreciate that, Mark. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me, and I'm just excited to be part of this family because that's what it is. It's a family, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Same here, and with that, we will see you soon on another episode.